and my event has started. What's up, everybody? As you guys get in here, please hit the like button, share it out. I kind of wanted to do this. I'm not exactly sure what is going on, going to happen this weekend. Supposedly, Sunday sometime or Monday morning, there's going to be a hurricane. So maybe you guys have kind of heard about that, but hitting Florida. And so yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to affect like MNC. I'm definitely going to be at Crossfire tomorrow, but as far as MNC Sunday, still kind of up in the air. So I don't know. So I kind of wanted to do a little live show in between. I did some work today and then picked up a few things. Right now, I am charging my 3DS, my 2DS, my Switch, my DS, and my Vita. And some MP3 players and an MP5 player, if you guys know what that is, just in case. So I have everything ready, and I'm found my flashlights and my emergency radio and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how how that kind of happens and stuff like that. Just wanted to keep you guys kind of in the know and stuff like that. So last time, I think it was a couple of years ago. That actually happened. I actually lost my power for I think 8 days or something like that. It was pretty ridiculous, and I had quite a bit of trouble after that. But yeah, hopefully this one, I'm still hoping that this one kind of turns up a little bit north and can avoid us a little bit. So I am actually hoping that that's the case, rather than like kind of dealing with this kind of thing head on. But at the end of the day, you don't know what to really expect from Mother Nature and stuff like that, but I'm hoping for the best. So I'm really kind of a little bit anxious about this. So yeah, but hey, here I am doing my thing. I am going to be the best that I can up until that point, and just I had to take care of the fam and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys are all doing good. I am coming off of yesterday's Xbox Nation, what I thought was a really fantastic show, and I have to say, I'm thinking I'm finding that middle ground area where hopefully people are happier than just the constant bashing or whatever. And that's never my intention, to constantly bash Xbox or anything like that. But I did find it a little bit interesting that according to some of these new numbers and stuff like that, Xbox One is actually selling worse than the Wii U did at certain points. If you think about that, okay? So the Wii U, which is widely regarded... Now listen, I'm not saying the Xbox One has sold as few as the Wii U. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, per month, the Wii U would hit lows around 35,000 and things like that. Now think about this. The Xbox 360 at certain times would do more than 35,000 a week. You know what I mean? It would do way more than that a week. And now we're at a point where the Xbox One is doing 35,000 a month. So it really goes to show that there is some kind of a problem there. And I'm hoping that Microsoft can fix it rather than, completely going the other way. See, the one thing that I do worry about most of all is Microsoft was about to get out of the console business at one point during this generation. So, people don't realize how close they were to that. And that's really kind of scary when you think about it, right? Microsoft has had, problems in the past with, being committed to doing their console thing or whatever. I don't think that's a problem right now, but I do think that they're kind of laying all their eggs in a basket that is more or less for streaming and stuff like that. And I don't think that that's going to end up well for them, because I just don't think streaming is going to take off. Like, that's my personal opinion on streaming. I don't think that streaming is going to help them in the long run, but I'm not really an expert on these things. But I do know that streaming has been around for a while, and that it never seems to take off, particularly here in America, where is like the majority of gamers. Like, this is the place that buys the most consoles and spends the most money on games and things like that. So that could be a little bit of an issue for Microsoft going forward. But I would hope that issue wouldn't prevent them from going out there and actually being able to do something great in the future, because I feel like they can do something great. It just is going to take a little bit of time, and I'm hoping that I realize that the games and stuff are going to come. I'm not foolish. I'm not a troll, believe it or not. I understand that games will come at some point. I'm just always one of the glass half empty type of people when it comes to this, especially given the way this generation has kind of shaped up for us, and it hasn't exactly shaped up well. So I feel like I've earned a little bit of leniency when it comes to being a little bit kind of upset with the way Microsoft handles things. But I still do have faith that they might be able to do something in the long run that's going to actually help them out. Xbox selling 30,000 versus PS4 182,000 this week. Yikes. Yeah, like this is a problem. Again, a lot of people, listen, I'm not saying that sales completely matters, you guys. What I'm saying is that they are important to a certain extent because, look, if we had sales on Quantum Break, we would have got another Quantum Break, right? If we would have had sales on, Sunset Overdrive, we would have got another Sunset Overdrive. If we would have had sales on Alan Wake, we would have had a sequel to Alan Wake. You see how that works? If the Dreamcast would have sold like crazy, we would have had another Dreamcast, and Sega would still be making hardware, right? So for people that say that sales don't matter, they definitely do matter. I understand the argument that like sales being first or second place isn't going to have you enjoy your particular brand or your particular console any less or any more, and I totally get that, right? Look, Burger King and McDonald's, they coexist. Obviously, McDonald's is number one, but Burger King's not doing bad. They're sitting comfortably. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you're not going to enjoy if you're a Whopper type of person, you're not going to enjoy a Whopper any less just because they're in second place, are you? So I get that, right? They're not in any danger of going out of business. And Microsoft, I feel like they're not going to go out of business. They just obviously, I think, have this idea that the future is just going to be like this cloud streaming stuff. If you look at it, and I think Phil Spencer tweeted out something about latency and servers and stuff like that yesterday. A lot of their stuff that they talk about now is strictly strictly like cloud stuff, and that's a little bit of a shame. I feel like they push that stuff into mobile stuff, and then when you see Xbox fans sort of hype up stuff like Gears Pop, which I guess it announced that they have 1 million players, which is to be expected, to be honest with you, a free-to-play game across Android and I guess iOS or whatever. I haven't played it. I don't plan to play it. I don't really do mobile gaming, but I guess that's good. I don't know. I mean, considering how many install base there is for phones, and it's a free game, and the name Gears of War is well known, so you would think that maybe that'd be a little bit higher. Maybe it will get that way, but I was just kind of surprised that maybe that it wasn't a little bit more than that, given that it was free. So yeah, that kind of surprised me, but I would expect that was when I thought, when Microsoft was talking about getting into like that sort of mobile gaming sphere, that they would actually be doing more mobile only games. Like that game makes sense, at least for the mobile market, because that's what people like to play, like that casual stuff here and there, not like The Witcher 3 or Halo 6 or Infinite or whatever on an actual phone. So to me, that doesn't really kind of make sense to me. Like why would you do? It's like Nintendo does it, right? In my opinion, they release games, like they're going to release like a Mario Kart type game on mobile or whatever, and I think that's pretty cool. But at the same time, I also think that it's smart to sort of, do things specifically for PC, or do things specifically for console, do things specifically for mobile. They get that, right? Like this is specifically for mobile, and they do things like Age of Empires specifically for PC. Like I'm looking for that thing that they do specifically for console, because I feel like that's very, very important as well. And that's what I'm really hoping to see. WR Cup says, "Hey, crappy Thursdays, Lego Browns." Hey man, the Browns are garbage, dude. I would not be getting up excited about about that. Jay says, "What happened to Empire?" No, that dude, there was a little bit of a falling out there, man. It's just one of those things where not everybody's going to agree all the time on stuff, and I get that. I just think that we just had a little bit of a falling out, disagreement there, and then a little bit of a thing on Twitter or whatever. Kind of is what it is. I don't have any hard feelings for the guy. It just it's one of those things. Just kind of happens. This isn't the first time someone has been a part of the podcast that left or whatever. It's kind of difficult. It's a difficult time for Xbox dudes, especially if you take this stuff personally. And I'm not sure if maybe that's what happened, but it's really hard to defend the point of view that says, hey, exclusives don't matter and we don't need exclusives and this kind of thing, because honestly, exclusives are the things that we actually buy these consoles for, and the reason why we have uniqueness with these consoles. Like, can you imagine a Switch without the Nintendo exclusives, or a PS4 without the PlayStation exclusives? Like, the only people that are saying exclusives don't matter, if you'll notice, are either PC gamers who want these exclusives on their platform of choice, right? They desperately want PlayStation and Nintendo exclusives on PC, like 100%. They want this, so that's why they say it. And then, of course, the Xbox fans say exclusives don't matter because they don't really have any. So those are the only people that you ever see out there going, "Hey, exclusives, they don't matter." It's anti-consumer. It's like again, if I can go into McDonald's and get a Whopper, that kind of defeats the purpose of going into Burger King, doesn't it? So I don't know. You know what I mean? Just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Just in my opinion, though. But again, no hard feelings. I don't really have any kind of personal issues with him or anything like that. WR Cup says, you getting Astral Chain, the exclusive game for Nintendo Switch, and the money Platinum Games funneled that money from Microsoft. Listen, I don't know anything about that franchise, man. I'm just hoping to survive this hurricane. And, I'm going to possibly, if the power goes out, get a chance to finish, what is it? Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Because, I really like that game, which appreciate it to you for hooking me up with that, man. I definitely do appreciate it. But, yeah, so I'm looking to finish that up. And, so if you guys didn't know, I bought some bottled water, a little bit of food, and, make sure I got batteries in my, for everything. And, just kind of making sure that I got everything taken care of, because you don't want to get caught without those things. It's like these things are kind of scary or whatever. If you guys don't know about country living, what happens here is what happened to me last time is if you live far off main roads, like there's going to be power poles, right? Like everybody has power poles, right? But if you live in the country, you have a power pole that you're responsible for way on your property, because they got to run these lines from the main power lines all the way to yours. So you got to, sometimes some people have two, because you got to run them between two different ones. So anyway, the power pole on the property, a tree crashed into that and blew up some stuff, and was pretty bad. Some of my electronics got fried and stuff like that, and you're responsible for fixing that yourself and paying for a new one. So it was a little bit rough, and I'm hoping that this one isn't going to be as bad. The other one kind of buzzsawed up like from underneath. This one looks like it's cutting across, so we'll know this is only going to be like the second one, if it doesn't change, that I've actually been through. And I've lived in Florida for 27 years, and off and on. Like back in 2004, I was living up in Michigan because I was married and living up in Michigan where she was from. And so I avoided when Florida got hit back-to-back times, but my folks unfortunately did not, and they were hit and stranded without power for like 11 or 14 days or something like that. And I remember sending them like care packages and stuff like that, because nothing had food. All the businesses were closed down. There was literally nothing around, so I had to help them out. But yeah, it's an incredibly stressful time. So it is. I am a little bit anxious and nervous about it. I never really took that stuff seriously until last time either, right? Like when this stuff happens, you're just like, oh well, it'll probably miss you or whatever. But it really, like, it's scary thought right now. Like originally I was just like, hey, it'll be all right, and now it's like, I remember like staying in my car for 8 days because it had air conditioning, and then going out every day trying to find a gas station and waiting hours and hours before you can get your turn to get some gas, and you scrounge up some food or whatever, and it's just not a fun prospect. And so yeah, like I definitely feel for people that have, this is our thing though. Like I guess in Florida, it's just weird to me that in 27 years this is only the second one, and they've come in within 3 years of each other. So yeah, it's definitely a kind of upsetting thing. Hey, if you guys could hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. It definitely does mean a lot to me as well. So anyway, yeah, so the Xbox One sales definitely kind of plummeting, and not exactly where Microsoft wants them to be. I do hope that they have some announcements, because they did they did actually. Oh, okay, so I'll give you guys a little bit of an example here. Like, you can get an Xbox One S. It's called a starter bundle for $149 at this place called Fry's. So that's a very interesting thing, because $150, okay? And the Xbox One X is also having price cuts as well, which, listen, I'm not against price cuts, right? I think I think price cuts are definitely needed, and that's what competition is all about, right? So this Xbox One S, which by the way is $150 and is called the starter bundle. It's only got a 500 gig hard drive, but it's got 3 months of Game Pass and 3 months of Xbox Live. And they on the front it advertises a bunch of Game Pass games like Halo 5, Fable 3, Lego Batman, Banjo-Kazooie, Bioshock Infinite, Saints Row 4, Mega Man, Payday, Gears of War, Mad Max, and other games on the front cover. I think that's actually cool, right? It's a good starter bundle, $150. Okay, think about this. The SAD edition is $100 more than that, and it doesn't even have a disk drive. This one has a disk drive. So I'm all for cutting prices and stuff like that. But at some point, you have to realize that it's like desperation, and maybe Microsoft should have done a little bit something different in order to get some traction ahead of time, right? Because I do worry a little bit about this stuff, like what's going to happen if the Xbox One X or the Xbox Scarlet doesn't actually go out there and perform the way that Microsoft needs it to perform, right? And I know they say they don't really care about that, but I think at the end of the day, you have to care somewhat about that, because if you don't, and I don't know what to say, like can you not have pride in your own business or whatever, you know what I mean? I just feel like you have to have that sort of pride and that want and need to see your stuff do well, and I think that Microsoft kind of lacks that. They don't have that. Like, I know cockiness maybe is the wrong term, but Microsoft doesn't have that sort of oomph to get out there and get people excited or whatever. So I hope that they can change that in the future, and I really do hope that that's something that they can kind of get control of as well, because they really need to kind of change it around so that people are look at Xbox as a great brand again. Excuse me, I'm also getting down a little bit of a cold, so I muted my mic while I coughed and sneezed for a second. So yeah, there is a little bit of a that brand, that brand fatigue with Xbox. People just some reason don't link Xbox in their heads with a quality gaming experience anymore, and that is unfortunate, because the Xbox 360 was the epitome of a great quality experience for gamers everywhere. And I feel like the fact that Microsoft had to kind of take a step back is exactly what we didn't need to kind of hear in terms of what they wanted to do. So I really do hope that in the future we can see Microsoft continue to do really great things with that brand, because I think Xbox is far from dead or anything like that. I just feel like Microsoft needs to kind of revive things and do a better job at getting people excited for what they have to offer, because so far they haven't really been able to do that. And I'm hoping that it's something that they can do, early on within the next generation. Maybe Phil is playing possum. Maybe he's just like really playing possum and he's going to come out next year. And again, I'm not going to hype that up now and go wait till next year, because I think that's BS. But maybe Phil, he has a thought. Maybe he's like, yeah, we're going to go into next E3 or whatever and, show a bunch of games. Maybe he'll do that. I don't really know. I really do think that it's something that he should consider, even though he doesn't like to go out of his way to kind of announce these things. I really do think that he should maybe possibly consider going and doing that, because it would definitely behoove him. Hey, maybe you guys can get me to 100 likes. I would appreciate it. Y9 Power says, hey, watching the Sad Edition YouTube video, they fully admit they are not listening to the fans because they said it shouldn't be done, but they did it anyway. Yeah, you know what? I don't understand who that was for either. Like, I get it that a lot of people like all digital, right? Like, I'm digital for the most part. I still buy physical stuff once in a while. But at the same time, I'm very careful with my... It doesn't make sense to go digital with my movies, because I can't stream in 4K with my internet, right? It requires too good of an internet connection. It just buffers and buffers and buffers. The cheaper thing for me to do with 4K stuff is buy a 4K Blu-ray, which comes with the 4K Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray, and a digital copy. So who in their right mind would spend, $25 or $30 for a digital-only 4K movie that you have to stream, when you can spend that same amount and get 2 physical versions and a digital version for your Movies Anywhere account, which is on Xbox and a lot of other things anyway. So it never made much sense to me. I would actually love for the games to actually do that. You know what I mean? I would love to see, video game companies, and this would maybe actually help save retailers a little bit. I know that there's no real advantage for Microsoft doing this, but wouldn't it be nice if when you bought a physical game, it came with a digital copy of the game too? Like, I think that'd be a great way, even if the price went up a little bit. I think that'd be a great way to make everybody happy. It would make physical retailers stay relevant for a little bit longer. People like me who like to collect games, but also like the convenience of digital, I think that that would be absolutely great. And I think that that's something that maybe they should consider for the future, because I don't want to see places like GameStop go out of business, because, again, competition is key, and competition is super important when it comes to this stuff. Let me see. Xbox is necessarily to exist to motivate Sony to keep destroying it. Yes, exactly. Well, I don't know. I don't want Sony to destroy it. I just think that there has to be that competition there between these companies. You have to really have that competition in order to get the best things. Like Microsoft supposedly saw the sales of Horizon Zero Dawn, and that's what spurred them on to actually get, bring Fable back. So I do think that that's going to be very important as well. So I also wanted to talk about this because it's a bit of an issue, which is Xbox Live. We talked a little bit about this last night, but Xbox Live has been having a lot of trouble lately, and I don't even use Xbox Live as much as I used to. Back in the day, I'm actually good with Xbox Live till like 2022 or something like that, and Ultimate Game Pass till then as well, just because they upgraded it for $1. And I was like, hey, that's incredible. You know what I mean? Like, who wouldn't jump on that deal, whether or not you're using it all the time or not? But I actually thought it was pretty interesting to see that Xbox Live went down again yesterday. And the main thing that people are having a trouble with is accessing their content. Okay, so they're having problems accessing their content. They're having problems accessing their games, their movies, all this kind of stuff, which is a big problem for digital only. And it really kind of speaks to the reason why so many people are a little bit hesitant on, with why they don't want to go streaming only, or any of these other ways, because I feel like it's one of those things where Microsoft is kind of maybe pushing things a little bit too soon, and I would have liked to seen maybe another generation where they kind of made up for what happened at the start of this generation, like give us great exclusives, pay attention to the console, and then maybe towards the end of next generation they go, yeah, we're going to start trotting out streaming, because I have a feeling that this streaming stuff is still way far away. Remember, in 2014 or 13, Microsoft is talking up the power of the cloud, how you're going to use it for your destructive environments, and all this kind of stuff is changing gaming. And here we are, almost 7 years later, and it hasn't done that. And the game that they promised to do it first, which was Crackdown 3, isn't able to do it. So yeah, I find it to be highly dubious that they're talking about this stuff now. Usually you can add on 10, 15 years to something that they're talking about now, because I remember them talking back in 2012, and I remember like a GameStop or a GameSpot article or something like this, maybe an IGN article, where Microsoft had Halo 4 running on a phone through streaming. And the problem was that the latency was too high. And so that was, almost 8 years ago, and we still aren't there, you know what I mean? So I still think we're still quite a ways away from that being the norm, or how people actually want to do anything like that. Arctic Werebear says, it is the internet in rural areas are still shoddy. Like, listen, I live in a rural area, and I have about 25 to 30 download speed megabits, but less than a 3 up. So yeah, it can be pretty bad. In fact, there are times when I have less than a 1 up. So that's why, like, sometimes it's easier for me to do a long form video like this. It takes like next to no bandwidth, as opposed to uploading a video, a 1080p 30 frames per second video, mind you, is also a situation where that would take me a certain amount of time as well. Like, it just takes a long time to be able to do that. So I think a 1080p 30 frames per second video, 5-minute video, takes me about an hour or so. If I do bump it up to 60 frames, I'm looking at 2 hours to upload a 5-minute video. So you guys see that it takes an incredible long time for me to upload videos, which kind of sucks when people don't take the time out to like just check them out or whatever. I realize that not everybody can, but it also doesn't help that YouTube, with their kind of algorithm, doesn't send out alerts to people who subscribe to you. So even though people might go, well, hey, CG, you have whatever it is, 58,000 subscribers, how come your videos don't do better? Well, if I click on my analytics and I know how many subscribers I actually reach through my videos, lately it's been less than 2%. So less than 2% of my subscribers get any kind of notification, which, you know, it kind of sucks because YouTube seems to bury their own people, I guess. I don't know what the deal is with that. You know, there's sometimes where I was reaching, 20%, and now it's down to like 2%. So I don't really understand what the deal is or why they do that, but it makes it almost not even worthwhile. But as long as I'm having some fun with it, I'll keep at it. And keep trying to break through that barrier, because I have before. It's just like some days, man, you just get up and you're just like, man, something, things are going good, people are popping, and then some days you just you do videos and it's just like you largely ignored, and then I'll get messages, hey, did you do a video today? And I'm like, yeah, I did one, I did two. And they're like, oh, I didn't get a notification. Did you hit the bell? Yeah, I hit the bell. Well, I don't know what to tell you then, because YouTube just doesn't care, I guess, So certain people, I guess, seem to have a little bit of a better situation than that. You know what I mean? So I hope to see, that would be interesting. So that's interesting. Hold on, let me see this real quick. I just got sent a message. I have to see what this message says. Like what he's been. Okay, so somebody wants to unblock him. Okay, so somebody wants me to unblock him. Okay, I gotcha. I got it. Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, hopefully you guys are all doing well. Hit the like button. Hey, we're close to 100. I would definitely appreciate it. What's up? Hey, what's up, Miko or Miko? That might be your name. Yeah. Look, Microsoft has to do a little bit better job at reaching people. Let me see here. I feel like if they actually did something to sort of reach people, that I think people would be surprised. I just feel like they haven't done a good enough job to get people excited about their content, and that's a really bit of a shame in my opinion. Just because I just feel like what they're doing is making it difficult for people to want to like their brand or like that. And when I joke around about saying, hey, there's only a few Xbox gamers left, the sad truth of it is there's not just a few left. Obviously, if you want me to talk about some good stuff going on with Xbox right now, I will. No joke. This is really something that people have to realize. Microsoft isn't going to talk about numbers specifically anymore, okay? What they're going to talk about is players and users and active users and stuff like that, and I'm fine with that, okay? So if you want some good numbers, you're not going to get it from Microsoft, unfortunately. But at the same time, I do feel like Microsoft does have some positive stuff, like Forza Horizon 4 just passed the 12 million player mark. Now, what does 12 million players mean? I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what 12 million players means at all. How many people has actually bought that game? I don't really know. But I do know that they have 4 million active monthly users on there, which is pretty good. Okay, so I'll read this. So this is what they said. Over 12 million drivers have experienced the shared open world of beautiful historic Britain in Forza Horizon 4. The design director at Turn 10 Studios in the latest edition of Forza monthly broadcast. In addition to the landmark figure, he also revealed that more than 4 million players engage with the game on a monthly basis. Racing games usually aren't super popular like that, so I am happy because Forza Horizon, just imagine where Xbox would be this generation without Forza Horizon. Okay, I know people like to kind of downplay it. I love the Forza series or whatever, but I can't imagine where Xbox would be without the Horizon series, right? Like, those games have been a lifesaver for Xbox, because at least people would go, hey, they got Forza Horizon. Like, it honestly has saved so much. So I really do hope that that's something that that they continue to go down the road. Forza Horizon has taken a little bit of a break, however, much like the Motorsport series. So I think Motorsport's going to come back either in 2020 or 2021, which means Horizon might not come back till 2022, which is quite an extended break from 2018. You know, and you know, maybe it's needed because I felt like, even though I think Forza Horizon 4 is a solid game, I felt like it was the more games as a service game than any of the other ones, and so I was a little bit kind of disappointed with that. Hey, we're 7 away from 100 likes. I would really appreciate it. So yeah, I do think that that's pretty cool, and it is a good series. I'm not saying that it's a bad game, Forza Horizon 4. I'm just saying that it's really, you know, it's not the best Forza Horizon game in my opinion. The best Forza Horizon game in my opinion is 3. And the reason why I say 3 is not only just because of the DLC, which was awesome at the time, but I just think that that's when they got it really right. The festival was perfect. I think everything was really perfect with that, and it was just really well done. And I'm not saying that they aren't doing well. They aren't well done now. I'm just saying that from what I can tell, it seems like you know, they went with that games as a service type aspect with the open world, shared world stuff, which I don't mind. I get you can turn it off or whatever, but they make it a little bit difficult to kind of go about that or whatever. And it just seems like that game is more or less made for sharing the world, and I'm okay with that. I just, you know, I miss the festival part of the game, right, where it was like, do this to do this, you know, unlock this part of the festival or whatever. Now it's just like almost an afterthought. And so, sorry, I got a lozenge. You know, so yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed with that aspect. Plus, I wish they would have changed a little bit of something in that franchise. Just tweak it a little bit to make it a little bit different than the previous ones. Because it does feel a lot like 3, but a little bit more games as a service-y. So I wasn't a huge fan of that aspect of it. But I do hope that in the future they can kind of change that up a little bit. Silverback says, please unblock Silverback, my main account. Do you mean on this, or do you mean YouTube or on Twitter? Because I can try to unblock either. Here's the thing with unblocking people on YouTube. It's not an exact science, man. I've got like so many people on this list, and a lot of the people on the list are people I didn't even block. But I'll write that down and then look into the list of blocked people and see if I can find it, and unblock it for sure. Yeah, I've been unblocking everybody pretty much, as long as you're like, you know, a decent person or whatever. I think we're all good. Even if you disagree with me about what I think, you know, it's going to be there. Okay, so listen, Games with Gold just got announced, you guys. So this is what we're getting. Okay, we're getting Hitman the complete first season. Okay, that's actually a pretty good series, but it's weird that we're getting the first season. I could have sworn we got that already. Another game called We Were Here, and this was like a $5 game. The 360 games are Earth Defense Force 2025 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which I thought maybe we got that game for free once for watching E3. I don't know, but yeah, it doesn't look like a great Games with Gold. You know what I mean? Hopefully they can kind of fix that up down the road. I don't know. There's just something about Games with Gold lately that is kind of annoying. It's not really, I don't really care particularly, because I pretty much I own most of the things that I want, unless there's money problems, like particularly right now. Like I want to play what is that, Control. I want to play Control super bad, but I can't get it right now. Now we have a hurricane coming, so everything's kind of put off until next month sometime. But it's like, you know, for the most part, if there's something I want, I'll get it day one. So seeing this, it's like, it's not for me that I get excited for it if it's a good if it's a good month. It's other people, because I realize that games are expensive, man. $60 for a game, that's a big piece of money. Okay, like I understand that, and I think that you know, having to pay for online or pay for online play as well, that's a difficult thing to really do. And then also buy your game. That's why people don't buy a ton of games, you know. Like some people will buy a Call of Duty, and the reason why they buy that is because that game's going to last them all year and then some. You know, they buy a Madden because it's going to last them all year and then some. So that makes a lot of sense to me, and I can definitely sympathize with that. So to me, when you get good games with Games with Gold or PlayStation Plus, that's awesome, because that means that people get something, you know, a little bit extra out of that. So that's why I get excited for it, not because it matters to me, because personally, this list, I don't really care about this list. It's not something that really matters to me one way or the other. You know, it's just kind of disappointing when people don't, yeah. when they don't. PS Plus won again. Yeah, PlayStation Plus definitely won. Hold on. Now True says Control is horrible on console after seeing the benchmarks. I don't know. It really depends. Like I think that it kind of depends on where you stand with that kind of stuff, right? I think that Microsoft's Xbox One X, I think it actually plays pretty well on there. It really just kind of comes down to where you want to play the game or whatever. And and it's just one of those things that that kind of gets brought up or whatever as a reason to buy it on one particular console or whatever. I know on the original, like the Xbox One S, that game's 720p, which is okay, I guess. For me, I'm not about that 720p life right now. Hey, hit the like button, you guys, and share it out. I would appreciate it. I'm doing my best to hang in here and do a live stream, because again, like I said, I'm not sure how active I'll be this weekend with what we got coming our way. So hopefully you guys can get your Crapgamer fill right there. So if you guys didn't know, PlayStation Plus games for September are Batman Arkham Knight and Darksiders 3, which Darksiders 3 just came out, and Arkham Knight is a really good game as well. So you're really set on there. I don't think that they're terrible games, because I do think the Hitman Season 1 is pretty good. The other things on there, just I don't even know what they are. I mean, I know what Earth Defense Force is. I just have never played it. And Tekken is Tekken, so I think I might already own that as well, because I could have sworn that they gave that away one time, so I'm not really sure. So for me, if you were to ask me who has the better lineup this month, I would definitely say that it is Batman and Darksiders, because Darksiders is pretty much a new game. So yeah, make sure you guys pick those up as well. Just because I think that that's gonna be a fun thing. Well, hold on. Dog of War says people were screaming Days Gone, fan like crap, and it or ran like crap and ran fine for me, so I'm sure Control is fine too. Well, here's the thing, right? Wrath World says Control on PS4 needs an update, but it's a good game. Yeah, I hear it's good, man. I want to play it. Again, I got my review code in to the wrong people at the wrong time. Like I sent mine to Remedy. I should have sent it to 505. Or else I could have got it like Mooch did, but I mean, it is what it is. Here's the thing with Days Gone. Sony sent out that game without the day one patch, and reviewers got it, and they got it early. If they would have got it on time, like when Sony originally specified, it would have been okay. Now that's on Sony for sure, right? You put out that, you send out a review copy, you got to have that patched. And it wasn't. So it was originally broken. That's why that game is much better than the 71 or 72 or whatever Metacritic score. People play it and they're like, holy cow, this is really good. Of course it's really good. It's a really good game, and it runs really good. The problem was that the original copies that were sent out and were reviewed without the day one update. So yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. And just in my opinion, I think that Sony should be blamed for that. But it's one of those things where, that game is much better than what the scores actually would indicate. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about this, which was, if you guys know me, you know that I like Telltale games, right? And this was something I wanted to talk about last night, but we didn't get around to it. So, Telltale games are really fun games to play. They're cheap games. You get them like $5 a piece for each episode, or you wait and you pay the $20 or $25 or whatever. I usually just buy them as they come out, because that's the way I like to do things, and they're fun to play for like an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever, because each episode is roughly that. So you get a really pretty good game, and they're really good stories, and the achievements or trophies are really good for them as well. You can pretty much get every trophy or every achievement just by beating the game, which I really like. And the stories are so great. Like, I love The Wolf Among Us, and I also really loved Tales from the Borderlands, and pretty much everyone on there except for the Game of Thrones one I wasn't a big fan of, but I pretty much loved all the games that they've put out. The Walking Dead ones and stuff like that, I thought they were really good. And now it looks like a company has kind of bought the name Telltale Games and the licenses, or most of the licenses. Unfortunately, they're not bringing the entire crew back, so it's not like it's just Telltale Games in name for the most part, which is kind of unfortunate. I hope they do. They're supposedly going to bring in some of the original people, but yeah, I think that's really cool that they revived it, because they do a certain kind of genre that I think is definitely needed in the gaming industry, and that kind of mid-level interactive game. And I feel like that's something that that they really do well, and so I'm very happy with that. And I really think that it's pretty cool that they're able to kind of pull that off or whatever. And hopefully, you guys all kind of enjoy and enjoy these types of games as well, because I think they're really cool. So yeah, I definitely do enjoy seeing that as well. Sonic, oh man, come on, man, don't go there. Radical Hypothesis Gamer says Dirt Rally is free on Humble Bundle until September 1st for those that play games on PC too. Game Trailer says, Crap, can you please show me a link that Microsoft cut? Yeah, I just tweeted out one too, dude. You're like, they're selling this thing called the Starter Bundle. The Starter Bundle is going to be $150, dude. At various places. They also cut the price of the Xbox One X at almost every retailer, including their own right now. So I actually think that part's a good thing, but the fact that they have so many problems with they have so many problems with with sales and stuff, that this is going to be a real problem for them going forward. They're trying to save a little bit of face. I've always thought if Microsoft really was at close to 50 million, they would just announce it. I understand it looks bad because you're talking 100 million to 50 million, but at the same time, I feel like it would also be pretty cool just to have an idea of how many people out there have an Xbox One. Is it really doing that bad? Because a lot of people just think, hey man, it's really, really doing bad. And that's how I kind of think about it, in my opinion. It's just really doing incredibly bad, and Microsoft really should kind of get their act together and try to sell as many as they can. Like, why is it a sin or a crime to want to sell your console, right? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense for people to kind of downplay, or even Microsoft to kind of downplay the idea of sales, because they are so incredibly important, and Microsoft hasn't done a very good job of pushing their console or getting people excited about the future, and I feel like that's something that they desperately need to do in the future as well. Y9 Power says, I hope you be safe and comfortable during the storm. Yeah, you know what, I hope so. Like, there is, unlike last time, I've got the fiance and all that kind of stuff to take care of, so it's going to be, it's a stressful time. Like I said, I wouldn't expect, if it does indeed hit the current track that they're on, I would expect my power to go out for at least a few days, and that's always never comfortable or fun. And hopefully that's not the case, because it is a scary situation. So just like, people in the West Coast with the earthquakes and stuff like that, this is something, I guess, that people expect. But even as someone who's been in Florida for 27 years, a little bit off and on, but still 27 years in Florida, I haven't really experienced these types of things too often. There's been a couple close calls or whatever, but for the most part, no. I've never had to deal with this kind of stuff until this last one a couple years ago, and that one kind of, I guess, scared the crap out of me enough to understand that, hey, you don't really mess with these things or take things for granted, because when you hear like that howling wind and stuff outside, it's scary. Like, there's no power, just howling winds and rains and stuff like that. It just scare power lines down and trees falling, and you really have to worry. And it's something that I definitely have a lot more respect for now than I did before. So yeah, definitely something that I'm kind of worried about, but at the same time, I'm kind of just still hoping that this kind of goes the opposite way and like heads north a little bit or something, because I would definitely hate to see this kind of thing really impact not just me, but lots of other people as well. Because I know there's a lot of, like, Florida's a big state, and if you look at these things, it's really just kind of looks like it's heading right for us. So yeah, if you're like mid-Florida somewhere, like, you definitely should definitely watch out for that. Hey, hit the like button, I would appreciate it. Hey, we could get to 150, I would appreciate it. Radical Hypothesis Gamer says Cold Stone Creamery has a Nintendo Switch sweepstakes going on now as well. I think that's pretty cool as well. Jeffrey Dog says, I thought they said it was between 45 and 50 million around those parts. No. If you look at what EA leaked, it was closer to 38 million. I think it was. And then if you look at what Z Huge, who's like a well-known insider, he was saying that was accurate. And Microsoft has supposedly only sold like 1.5 million consoles this year. So if you were to say 40 million, that might be accurate, maybe 42 million. But there's no way it's close to 45, 50 million. That's just not, like, I think it would be great. But supposedly the people that make the GPU or whatever have said that it's that actually that they've only shipped a certain amount of those socks or whatever SOCs. So what did they say, like 36 million or 37 million, and that was last year. So it might be 40 million or lower. I like to have a little bit of fun with people when I say like 28 million or whatever, just because I think it's funny. But the truth of the matter is, if you ask me, I would probably have it somewhere between 38 and 42 million. And I think that just compared to where the Xbox 360 was with almost 90 million, yeah, it's definitely a bit lackluster showing on Microsoft's part, and the fact that things have like slowed down drastically when just a year and a half ago you released the most powerful console in the world, and people go, well, why isn't it selling? It is on sale a lot, so why isn't it selling? Well, again, it comes down to like the content. And if you don't have the content, then it doesn't matter. So, like, I can sit there and Microsoft can sit there and go, well, we're doing all these things for the players and for the gamers. We want to be so consumer friendly, blah, blah, blah. But the thing that does is really hurts your console in and of itself. Like, it really hurts what people think about your console, right? So what I mean by that is all these services and things that they're offering, they're fine, right? I get it, they're fine. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that they're giving people a reason to buy your console. And I understand that it's not just about the console, but when you have a console, you're definitely trying to sell that console, right? So I think it's just kind of a little bit sad that they can't get any more traction that they're getting, because Xbox used to be such a well-known thing, and now it just seems like nobody really cares, and that's really kind of unfortunate in my opinion. Just in my opinion anyway. Mr. Twister says, what Microsoft needs to do, show next E3 to rival Sony. I think that they need to show games, okay? They need to show Fable. They need to show new IP as well, and they have to show that they have a commitment to AAA IP, new AAA IP. So that's something that they really need to do, in my opinion. Sir X-Man says, give it to Luca. Only 1 million. Do you think Microsoft will care? I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. Power Gamer X says, absolute made-up facts from crap again. I don't really think it's made-up facts. Look at, I just posted some links out there. They're selling them for the Xbox One S for $150 right now, and you can go check it out. Microsoft is selling about 35,000 units a month right now, which is very comparable to what the Wii U was selling. Go check it out. Like, I think they even linked them over there on VG Charts, but that was a leak that came from the NPD, which was the 35,000 versus 180,000 PS4s. So that pretty much goes to tell you exactly what's going on. There ain't nothing made up here, man. It's like, it is what it is. The Xbox One is selling piss poor. Like, you don't have to make that up, and you might not care that it's selling piss poor, but you know what? If it's not selling good, that's not good. You need that competition. They need to sell better and do better. Emerson Charles says, hey, from the Caribbean, we were lucky that Dorian passed us before it got too powerful. Stay safe. We have to deal with this every year. Usually we're stuck here in St. Lucia. Yeah, man, it's a bad thing, man. Usually these things don't, they swerve and all this kind of stuff. And this one, they're just like, nope, it's just this beeline almost right exactly where I'm at. So, I'm just north of Orlando. So, yeah, that's definitely a scary thing. And it's something that I'm not really too excited about or too looking forward to. I'm hoping that everything, I'm hoping that everything kind of works out right or whatever. They do give us a reason to buy Xbox to give away their games. Well, listen, I think it depends, right? Like, I think Xbox is fine, and it has games, because I always tell people this, right? Like, there's games, okay? But the problem is when people go, there's no games, what they really mean is that there's no big new AAA exclusives or no exclusives, right? Like, I know if I say there's no games or no exclusives, people are going to start listing stuff like Battletoads or Bleeding Edge. Like, that's not what people are talking about for the most part. Yes, those are games, and those could be fine, I guess. I don't know. Like, they aren't my type of games, but people want like these big AAA games to bookend in between these little tiny games, right? Like, Bleeding Edge could be okay. I predict it's going to be like a 65 to 68 Metacritic game, and that could be an okay game sandwiched between a Halo and a new AAA IP. You see what I'm saying? And then you also could put Battletoads in there and Ori in between there as well, and I think that would be fine. The problem is we don't have any of those new AAA IP. I was bringing this up yesterday. If you want to get technical about it, The last like balls to the wall AAA IP that we got released on Xbox One was Gears of War 4 in 2016. Now, we've had Crackdown 3, State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, let me see, what else? Halo Wars 2. We've had those games, I think maybe even Recore in between. But some people I like those aren't like big budgeted games. Even if you consider Sea of Thieves a AAA game, I wouldn't consider it a big budget AAA game. So Gears of War 5 is the first big AAA, big budget, all out, big money game that they put out in the last 3 years. Other than I guess like I think that they do the Forza games, and I think those are AAA. But again, I don't know that if those are really like how much they're spending into these games. You know what I mean? Like just in terms of maybe I could say non-racing games. Okay, so this might be the first non-racing AAA balls out kind of huge, no expenses spared type of game that we've gotten in 3 years. So I'm interested to see how that works out. Plus, this was made while the Xbox One X is out, so maybe it's going to be that big showpiece that everybody was looking forward to, and I'm hoping that that is. You know what I mean? I just hope that that's something that they can deliver on, and I do believe in that company, and I'm hoping that, you know, I like Rod, and I like the company, and I'm hoping that they're going to be good. I think that they're quality developers, you know what I mean? You know, I just really do think that that's what they've got to do, you know, in my opinion. So I'm hoping against hope that that's exactly what the case is, because Microsoft, they're not stupid. It's just they don't seem to learn from their own mistakes sometimes, right? So anyway, if you guys didn't also know, there was a new Resident Evil game that was teased today by Capcom, and they're going to reveal it at Tokyo Game Show, codenamed Project Resistance. So that's a very interesting situation for them because, you know, Resident Evil has seen a little bit of a revival, sort of like Keanu Reeves, right? Keanu Reeves has kind of hit a little bit of a renaissance. Like, people love that guy again. You know, I always thought he was a pretty good actor. And, you know, but for me, it looks like this game is getting a kind of a rebirth, this franchise, and I think people are gonna are sort of taking a big shine to it. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to be good for everybody. I think that the more franchises we have like this, the better it is for everybody. So yeah, it's a very exciting time if you're a gamer or whatever, and you see this kind of stuff happen. You know, we get more of these franchises. I'm all for great sequels. I'm not just an exclusive guy. I get it that I bitch a lot about exclusives because we haven't had too many. But at the end of the day, I feel like, you know, everybody likes exclusives, but we also need a little bit more of a reason to sort of play our games that are more than just exclusives, and I get that. So you want good multiplats as well. Sir X-Man says, give it to Luca. He says, Blair Witch is a sleeper game and a single-player game, which is what people have been asking for, and this is the truth. Hey, man, I hope so. I really do hope that it's a great game. It's not something for me because I don't really like scary games so much. But, you know, if it's going to do well, then I hope it does well, and I hope that people kind of go toward it. It's free in Game Pass. That game's absolutely not going to get any kind of marketing whatsoever. So I really do think that, you know, if people are going to play this game or buy into this game, it's going to come down to, you know, it's really going to come down to word of mouth and people trying it in Game Pass. Because like I said, if you have Game Pass, you can play this game, and it's not going to be a problem whatsoever. It's just going to be one of those things where you can play it and have a good time with it. And, you know, many people are, I'm sure. So, it's going to be a fun time. I'm really looking forward to seeing people's reactions on it. If I hear it's not too scary, I don't like jump scares that much. So if I hear it's not too bad, you know, maybe I'll give it a try, give it a little whirl, and see what happens. Because, you know, you never know. Like, I'm not easily scared, but I also don't like just jump scares for no reason. So yeah, that's one of the things that I kind of talk about a little bit when it comes to like these kind of scary games. Like, I liked Until Dawn, and that had a couple of jump scares or whatever, but I was never like really creeped out by that game or anything. I was more intrigued by what the story that was going on, and I was hoping that you know, that was just one of the situations where I just was enjoying the characters and kind of like breaking down what was going on in that actual game. And so now it's just like one of those things that, you know, I don't like super scary games, but I don't mind it if it's like a great story to it. So hopefully you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from with that. Hold on, let me see here. I'm gonna answer some more questions. When do you think PlayStation buys up Remedy? I think they've already started the process. I think that it's one of those things where I think they're not going to announce it till Xbox XO. If I were Sony, I wouldn't announce that until the XO deal, and then once that happens, I would definitely announce it and try to steal some of Microsoft's thunder, because I feel like that's exactly what Sony is best at, and that's exactly something that they do. Next Doc says, anyone subscribing to Game Pass is doing more harm than to Xbox than good. I think it depends on how you really kind of how you really look at it, right? So Game Pass, I think, is a good value, right? But I think that it's only a good value as good as the Xbox exclusives. But then again, that puts Microsoft in a weird spot or in a bad spot where they have to have a constant flow of content, which means rushed content, smaller games. And Matt Booty had recently even said, he wants like Ninja Theory to do like AA type games like Hellblade, obviously In Exile, stuff like Wasteland, Compulsion with stuff like We Happy Few. These companies are going to stick to doing what they do best, Double Fine, doing those like type of indie games and stuff. So I wouldn't expect anything huge from those ones. You know what I mean? Let's see. Sir X-Man says the reviews are pretty good for the game. I hope it's good, man. Yeah, let's see. Shadow the Ghost says Alan Wake 2 PS5 exclusives. That's enough reason for me to get a PS5 right there, to be honest. I feel like Sony gets it in terms of that single-player game, and I think they're going to do more multiplayer games as well. So I think that anybody that's kind of sleeping on what's going on with them on the multiplayer side are in for a little bit of a surprise as well. So yeah, like I think that it's going to be some pretty cool stuff, and I do think that that Microsoft could learn something from Sony, do a little better job with the single player aspect, and then we would see a little bit more from the multiplayer aspect from Sony as well. So it's not just one or the other. I feel like that's something that's something that all these companies could definitely work on and do a little bit of something better, better than that. So I would definitely appreciate that. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me, you guys. Yeah. But, so anyway, please hit the like button. Maybe we can get to 150. I would definitely appreciate that. I'm going to answer some more questions now if you guys don't mind. If you guys got some good questions, throw them at me, and I'll be happy to answer them and, kind of kill a little bit more time before I got to go. I'm not looking forward to doing some more of this. Game Pass is hold on your kill list says Game Pass is Xbox last-ditch effort to combat the dumpster fire that Xbox One. I agree. It was kind of born out of their lackluster games that they were coming out with at the time. The Crackdowns, the State of Decays, the Sea of Thieves, the Recores, you know what I mean? They needed some place to put these games where they could at least get some kind of use out of them. Like people would at least try Game Pass to play some of these games, and I feel like that's exactly what they're kind of doing. Let's see. Crazy that someone bought Telltale on the licenses and Xbox doesn't even get DC or Marvel licenses. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Berserker says Xbox Live was down. Not only was Xbox Live down, but you couldn't even they had it to where you couldn't even get access your games and stuff, which I always find to be the worst part of this stuff, right? Like if you're digital or whatever, you can't access your damn games or movies. It's ridiculous. Sunset Overdrive 2, Alan Wake 2 is not both those things could happen on PlayStation 5. The Roadbot says, crap, I see them becoming like a third party making games for all platforms. I agree. I've said this before. I don't think it's going to happen right away, but I do see them believing that there's a lot more money in the ability to with the ability to do that, you know what I mean, to make money. So they honestly think that to be honest with you, that's where the money is. But they have to realize that not every game is Grand Theft Auto 5, and not every game is Minecraft. So you can put, you know, you can put these games on a million different platforms like Crackdown 3, and it's not really gonna do much in terms of being able to attract more of an audience. Okay, so like that's realistically how I look at things. Like it really just happens to be one of those things where we can see that Microsoft needs to do a better job at getting great games out. They need to do a better job at getting people interested in what they're doing, and so far that hasn't worked out well for them. Hey, hit the like button. I would appreciate it. Rated Demonic says, crap, when was the moment that you could not ignore the quality of PS4? For me, it was God of War. Okay, so God of War for me was also one of those things where I was just like, holy cow, this is absolutely amazing. You know, they did such a really good job with that game. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, it was such a great job, such a great game, and I just have to say that I was just completely surprised by just how great it was, because I was a fan of God of War well before that point, right? So the fact that they were able to get such an amazing get such an amazing game and almost like a soft reboot out of that. Wow, I was just absolutely amazed by that. So yeah, I was definitely, you know, I was amazed by that, and I was definitely, you know, just impressed with what they were able to do, and I really want to see what they can do with the next one. You know, just in my opinion, I want to see what they can do with the next one. So I would love to see, you know, something that that kind of lives up to that level on the Xbox side. You know, just in my opinion, I would love to see that from the Xbox side, and hopefully we can get that sooner rather than later, because I feel like Microsoft has a lot to prove to a lot of people. So I definitely would like to see that. They don't care about the Xbox console. It's very clear. Yeah, you know, I would hope that they could actually, you know, care about that. You know what I'm saying? Care more about what people want. You know, and I hope that they can actually, you know. And I hope that they can actually do that. You know what I mean? I want to see, you know, I want to see them succeed. I want to see them just be amazing again. And I think that's what Microsoft has been missing for a very long time, is, you know, that amazing wow factor that drew people in to the brand for so long. And I feel like that's what they need to do. Next doc says, crap, so what happens to Game Pass when third parties inevitably launch their own subscription service? They then eventually lock content behind their services. Subscription services are dangerous. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think that that's going to be a bit of a problem. If you guys could hit the like button, maybe get us to 150 likes, I would appreciate it. So, you know, you have to really look at things like, hey, like, what can you do? You know, what can they really do in the future with that, right? So people are going to be, you know, people are going to be, you know, just kind of have to deal with that, I guess, right? So you're not going to see Activision games on Game Pass. You're not going to see EA games on Game Pass. You know, you're not going to see that, you know. Unfortunately, when it comes to Xbox or whatever, they're going to have to rely on their first party, which isn't exactly huge at this particular time. So, you know, hopefully that they can do a good job with that. And, you know, I really do think that it's something that Microsoft needs to work on, and hopefully they will. I think they will. It's just going to come down to, like, the content. They're going to have to prove that they can actually do some great content, and I think that that's going to be the real way to kind of, you know, to kind of prove that they can kind of compete with Microsoft. So I would love to see that anyway. So any other questions? Who has the money to buy all platforms, including the service? Well, it's hard to really kind of say, okay? So if you look at things, to buy a PS5 and an Xbox Scarlet at launch, you're looking at probably $1,000 to $1,200. Okay? You know, I feel like that's maybe even cheap. You know, we could have tariffs, we could have, you know, different problems. And so for me, I really think that's a bit of a problem for both these consoles. But it's like in the past, you could get pick up both of them, and it was like $800, and that's still expensive, but not bad compared to $1,200. Like that's a hefty um, hefty thing in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna have they're gonna definitely have a tough time. That's a tough pill to swallow in my opinion. So Microsoft and Sony got to figure out a way to give you the most value for your money and give people great games as well. So I think the games are what's going to really sell these consoles to people, and I think that it's going to come down to being able to to do the best job for the gamer. And like I said, I think services and all that are great, but services didn't help sell more Xbox Ones. The only thing they could have helped Xbox One would have been able to go out there and do a better job of putting out exclusive content. So Microsoft needs to do a better job of putting out exclusive content in the future, and then hopefully, hopefully there is that going to be like the next gen stuff. And I'm hoping that they're just holding back some stuff right now just for next gen as well. Like, hey, next year we're going to go balls to the wall, we're going to do this amazing stuff and blah blah blah. Like I feel like that's something that they definitely can work on, and that they'll continue to work on. So hopefully they can continue to do that. And I just hope that that it's not too late for Microsoft. Microsoft really has to kind of kick themselves a little bit, because out of all the the generations to lose, you know what I mean? I think that this is probably the worst, because everybody's going to take their digital content with them. And, this is something that they really have got to kind of get a hold of. They got to really get a hold of themselves and kind of think about like other gamers for a change. You know what I mean? Like, what do gamers want? What do they deserve? Like, that's the kind of stuff that they have to kind of look at, in my opinion. So I would really hope that they kind of do that. Like AAA games, I'm getting married in February. So, yeah, hopefully hopefully this doesn't screw anything up with this, with this stupid, like hurricane and stuff. Like these things last time, man, this cost so much money to kind of fix or whatever. It was just really kind of a bad situation. So hopefully it's something that kind of can get fixed rather quickly, or there's less damage or whatever, because the more damage, the worse off everybody, including myself, is going to be. So I really need to hopefully luck out a little bit anyway. So I hope so anyway. You know what I mean? That would be my my ultimate goal anyway. So let's see. I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I got to get the hell out of here. Now that I'm in your chat, you actually answer my debates. Logan Cross, what is your debate, my friend? What is your question? I don't understand what your question is. Maybe if you tell me what your question is, I'd be happy to kind of answer that. Just let me know. And I'm definitely not afraid of anybody in terms of my knowledge for gaming is pretty good, and my my hypothesis and the way that I work things out is a little bit different than other people. So hopefully you guys get that as well. So anyway, let's see. What do we got? I'll answer a few more questions. Do you think Xbox is a banter box? There's no exclusives. Yeah, I mean, it's not really anything special, to be honest with you. Do I sell your Xbox while they still have some value? Do they have any value? Yeah, like Logan, you got my attention. All you got to do is at me, and then I can see it. Anonymous says, "Do you think?" Well, yeah, they're like, listen, they've got to be able to do great exclusive games that attract people. That attract people that aren't Halo, Gears, and Forza. Because if I've learned anything from this generation, is that Halo, Gears, and Forza need a break, and they need stuff in between those games. Diamilo Kubera says, "Are you reviewing Control?" I wanted to review Control, man, but with all this stuff that's happening, I can't really afford to buy it, man. I put it out there that if somebody wants to hook me up, I would love that. MOH Space Crapgamer on Xbox. But if not, I get it sometime next month. Probably too late to review it, but I was too late to get my request in. I got my request into Remedy instead of 505, so that was a bit of a problem. Logan says it's just whenever I was mentioning in chat, I wasn't getting mentioned. I never saw that you had to at you to know it's a question and not just a general chat. Yeah, if you at me, it lights up on my screen so I can see it better, because the chat usually rolls kind of kind of bigly. So yeah, it's just one of those things where yeah, that's what happens. You've got to be able to, I got to be able to read it or whatever. So that's probably why I'm not intentionally ignoring anybody. I'm just trying to just being honest about it. Let's see here. I'm going to answer a few more questions. I don't mind. Sir X-Man said, "Crap, did you see the new wheel on Twitter?" Yeah, I saw that. Like, they actually have a decent wheel or whatever. I think that's pretty kick-ass. Listen, I think that Microsoft should have been doing that way before they did a keyboard and mouse, in my opinion. Okay? Way before. Like, to me, they pushed their only games that they've really pushed this generation have been, their racing games. So the fact that they haven't been able to, have a racing wheel, their own like custom racing wheel or whatever, is a little bit, you kind of question it. You're like, hey, what's going on here? I would have loved to see them actually come out with some kind of racing wheel years ago. I remember how excited I was when they got the fighting stick for Killer Instinct. I thought that was pretty badass. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what they can do in the future if they continue to do this. Like, I like the peripheral stuff that they sell. Like, all they need now, I'm telling you, if they had great exclusive games, they would be hard to beat. Okay, they would definitely be hard to beat, because Microsoft has a lot of money and they do a lot of things right, man. They have powerful hardware, all kinds of stuff, right? So I just feel like they would be super hard to beat if if they actually decided to put some exclusive games out, and hopefully they can do that next generation. I'm just not 100% sure that I believe that they will do that. So, hopefully they can do that. You know what I mean? I would love to see them actually go out there and do something fantastic. And that's what I want to see them do, of course. So, hopefully they can. Let's see. The geeky. Oh, hold on. Where mid-gen console refresh is a mistake. Not sure they sold especially well, and base consoles aren't getting supported. Promise Control rough on base. Yeah, listen. Control is 720p on the Xbox One S. So ouch. That is pretty bad. I feel like Microsoft needed a mid-gen upgrade more than Sony. Sony obviously. The PS4 Pro I feel like is a VR type of thing. So yeah, like for me personally, I think that theirs is more specifically for VR, but there is obviously some great looking games. There's some great looking games on the PS4 Pro as well. So hopefully we can, we get more. I don't know if we'll see another mid-gen upgrade, but we might see something along those lines next gen. It just really kind of depends on what you do or whatever. You know what I mean? So hopefully, they do a really good job with that. So I would love to see Microsoft take advantage of their hardware the way Sony has. Because if you look at the way Sony has done a good job with their hardware, the base PS4 games, those exclusives, look absolutely amazing. Okay? They look so amazing. And I hope that that Microsoft really kind of takes an example from what Sony's been able to do, and does it. You know what I mean? That's what I want to see more than anything. So hopefully that's the case. I'm going to answer a few more questions. I couldn't fit my question in the message, but my last message was my question. Oh, okay. Well, I got you, bro. Like, yeah, I'm not ignoring you, man. I try not to ignore anybody. Why don't I show my trophies on PSN? You know what? A long time ago when I first started doing this stuff, everybody was like just all up in arms trying to get in my business. So now it's just one of those things where I have that stuff hidden. You know, like I personally don't care anymore, but it's just one of those things where people care so much, and it's almost like a stalker type thing. So yeah, it was like, you know, I just try to avoid stuff that could cause any kind of conflict. Really, I don't want to be involved in drama of any sorts. You know, what other studios besides Remedy do you think Sony has acquired? I think Sony might have acquired Ready at Dawn. Ready at Dawn, who did the Order 1886, hasn't done much. They've done some VR stuff and like a game for GameStop, but they haven't done anything since that point. So I do find it a little bit odd that they moved into a brand new place. And so I think that they did acquire Ready at Dawn and Remedy and possibly House Marquee. So I do think that that's, you know, that's exactly what they've been able to, you know, that's exactly what they were able to do. So, you know, hopefully that's something that we could see. Let's see. A couple more questions. Here. Dude, I'm the least I am 100% the least political person you'll ever find, right? Like I laugh at the people that get real upset. Like you can imagine that people get upset when you talk about console wars, right? Okay? And the fact of the matter is, console wars are kind of funny to me. All right, like I think console wars are important or whatever. Like people talk about them or whatever. But some people laugh at it and they're like, "Oh, you guys really get upset over console wars? These pieces of plastic." I laugh like that about people that get upset over politics. Right? That's just how I am. You know what I mean? Like I laugh at people on both sides. I had to laugh at, well, you know, Trump stuff. I laugh at Bernie Sanders stuff. I laugh at Hillary stuff. Like it does to me. That stuff's so silly. You know what I mean? Like none of these people seem to really have much of a care for us as human beings anyway. So if I learned anything from Star Wars, it's don't trust politicians. And that is something I did learn from from Star Wars, to be honest with you. So yeah, I definitely I'm not a political guy at all. So nobody can even try to pin that stuff on me. Oh, crap's this or that. I'm not. You said that you posted proof sales were going down on Twitter, but you just posted proof that prices are going down. Do you have any additional proof that sales are going down? Yeah, you can check out, well, it was actually a thread on, what is that? Reset Era. Hold on, I'll see if I can find this. I'll find it and then I'll post it out there as well, my friend. Don't worry. Yeah, so anyway, again, you can check out, I believe they updated the newest ones on the VG charts as well, which was at like 36 million or 36,000 for Xbox One compared to like 180,000 for PlayStation 4. So, you know, yeah, I think it really kind of just all depends and depends on what we see as fans, you know, what we're going to continue to get. Have you played Vigor? No, I haven't really had a chance to play it, I don't think. So, Gerald Rivera says no smoking, but blood and guts is okay. What games are you looking forward to the most? Jay Slayer asked this, but I'm interested in the answer. I'm looking forward to Modern Warfare. I'm also looking forward to for the let me think. What else am I looking forward to? Modern Warfare. Maybe Man of Medan. I did put in for a review request for that, so we'll see how that works out. Borderlands 3. Yeah, those are. I would say those games and Gears of War 5. I mean, I'm looking. Oh, Death Stranding. I might get that for free because I made a bet with this Xbox fan named Game Trailers, and if Gears of War 5 doesn't get a 95 Metacritic, which it's not. The deal was he'd get me Death Stranding for free. So yeah, I'm getting Death Stranding for free, 100%. Lock it in. You know, I'm hoping that like I think Gears 5 is going to get a really good it's going to get a really good a score, but I think it's not going to get a 90 or anything like that. So yeah, hopefully so I'll get a free game out of that for sure. All politicians hate us gamers. Hey man, we're the ones that give them excuses, right? Excuses to I hope he pays up. He's gonna need to get a new Twitter. anyway. So hopefully he does pay up, because I feel like, you know, I would have, like, I don't make wagers or anything randomly, so I would hope that if you know, that when I do, that people would actually, you know, do the right thing. So hopefully that's going to be the case. And that's sort of what I hope anyway. So I would love to see somebody actually back up what they actually want. You know what I mean? I'll answer 2 more, and then I'm out. I think Gears 5 will get an 89. And that's still, I don't know about that, man. I think Gears 5 is going to get like a between. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 85. You know what I mean? Just that's just my opinion. 85. I'm not sure if it'll get much higher than that, but you never know. I think it really just comes down to you know, what these companies are doing, and how the game changes from other versions of these games, right? So you know what I mean by that is Microsoft and the coalition have said that they've changed a lot about Gears of War 5, but have they changed enough? Like, that's the thing. Did it change enough to warrant that huge has it done enough to warrant that huge kind of God of War change, right? Like, God of War changed so much. You know, it was pretty incredible. So yeah, to see that is pretty damn incredible, and I gotta say that I'm very impressed with what they've been able to accomplish. You know, and hopefully it is a great game. Like, I'm not personally, like, the survive stuff doesn't bother me. I'm not gonna play that. I might play a round or 2 of Horde, but at the end of the day, I'm not really gonna play much of the else that they have to offer. So yeah, it's really just kind of one of those things where I'm going to play the single player, and then you know, hopefully it's going to be great. I'm hoping for the best. Cautiously optimistic. What do you guys think in the chat? Type in what you think the Metacritic's going to be. Let me know what you guys think is going to be, because like I said, I think 85, which would put it at slightly above what the last one got. And you know, and I think that's a great score. I don't think it's going to get a 90 though. You know what I mean? I think it's going to get, you know, something around 85 or whatever. So yeah, hopefully that's what it's going to end up getting, is something good, and people are going to, you know, go for it or whatever. But if the campaign's really that short, that sucks. I'm hoping. Listen, I think Gears of War 4, I beat it in like 6 hours on normal with co-op. So, you know, hopefully that's something that you know, that they actually go out there and kind of support, and people kind of support it or whatever. That's what I want to see. So I would love to see that. Yeah, my time is winding out here though. Most of you guys are up in the 80s, which, listen, when you make a game like this and you put so much money, oh, I see Yoshida with the 45. You know, when you put so much money in these games, it just makes almost no sense for it to flop. You know, like, I don't see it flopping. I see it doing pretty well, just because it's so much money. Now, well, it needs to be a really great Gears game. I feel like it's like Gears of War is at like a crossroads right now, and we really need to see exactly what's happening with this franchise in the future of the franchise. So I do feel like that's something that we need to see sooner rather than later. Next stock says, I just want Gears of 5 to be Gears. I don't want wholesale changes. Gears has unique gameplay. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. So with that being said, I'm going to get the heck out of here, y'all. Please like and share this video out. It means a lot to me. And wish me well. You know, I got the hurricane coming probably Sunday or Monday. And I got some more prepping to do and stuff like that. I'm going to be around, but I don't know how much I'll be around post that, depending on how the situation goes with with the electricity. So thank you guys for joining me for this impromptu show. I'll catch you next time. Rack 'em up. Peace out.